Ladies and gentlemen, it's Brock Bowen here. You also know me as the Lifetarian, and really excited to share with you Mr. Jakub Wolanski today. A friend that I actually met in Melbourne through a few things that we're doing down there. And we're actually at Bounce, which, if you guys don't know it, is a trampolining place. We're all having the best time ever there. And as he left to cruise out, I noticed he had a cool car and he had a good vibe about him. So I just said, see you, man, like your style. Whatever I happened to say in that moment, we've kept connected since then. And today I thought it was a good opportunity to get on here, have a conversation as I like to do, and share a bit about Jakub with you guys. And essentially this is the thing. Jake and I are getting to know each other more and more. What I understand is this. He's a coach that loves to help facilitate people through trauma. And that shows up in so many areas of our life and can limit us in so many areas. It's something that we don't often talk about. It's a bit of an area in society that's often, there's a blind eye turned to it. There's a lot of different things. And it's also a very, very sensitive area. So obviously you need to be impeccable in that area. And I know that you are. So I wanted to get you on today and have a conversation. And yeah, and shame I missed you in Melbourne, but I'm sure we'll catch up soon.
Huge shame, man. Huge shame. And thank you for the introduction, and thank you for the opportunity, because it is a topic that touches really such a greater part of our community. We talk about 6 degrees of separation, and this is definitely one of those things where we often know somebody who may not even know directly, but they have been impacted and affected by some form of trauma throughout their life that has changed the direction or who they are or how they perceive life and play life out. So yeah, absolutely something very, very close to my heart.
Yeah, for sure. Tell me more about that, because obviously the areas that we want to help people on are essentially us 5 years ago or 20 years ago. I found that for myself. You know, the stuff that I share with business owners now, it's the stuff I wish I knew 5 and 10 years ago. It's the stuff that I've really developed in my craft. So how did it come about that you knew you wanted to facilitate people around trauma?
Yeah, so for me it happened when I was around 20, so probably about 15, 16 years ago now. I was just a pretty happy-go-lucky kind of guy, had a good circle of mates. Not a massive direction in life, but I was kind of pretty content with where I was at. And I was jumped in my driveway by 4 guys.
Yeah.
Work-related issue. Somebody didn't like something that I did. That was fine. Now, luckily enough, they were really terrible at what they came to try and do. So physically, I was quite okay. Within a couple of days, it was fine. Yeah. But emotionally, that's where the real damage was done. And it impacted me through not being able to sleep, suffered massive anxiety. I couldn't go out at night, had a lot of trouble connecting with male figures, especially of this particular culture and ethnicity. And so it impacted me greatly. I lost a lot of friends, I couldn't work, and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, wow, it's a stressful time for you.
Very, yeah, absolutely. And then I did the traditional forms of, I did psychologist, I did some psychiatrist, took a little bit of medication, tried to help me sleep and regain my I guess stability in life, if you want to call it that, which I wasn't really keen on because I've never really taken Panadol, let alone anything more serious than that. So I got off them as quickly as I could, and I did counselling, and then it all helped. It definitely helped. I definitely felt like I was re-engaging with life, but I was far from that happy-go-lucky kid or that positive kind of outlooking guy, and I was still very, very heavily impacted. Yeah, and it was through, I guess, the not sleeping at night. There was a lot of infomercials. There was no Foxtel and Netflix and all that kind of stuff. I was just standard channel 7, 9, and 10, and I was coming across a lot of infomercials, and of course, Mr. Tony Robbins was coming up a lot then.
Me too.
And I had no idea what really personal development was. And I saw this guy, and he was, dropping names like, the Clintons and the Oprah Winfreys and the Andre Agassiz. And I'm going, what is going on here? Who is this guy? And what is he doing with these people? Because this has to be legitimate, right? You can't put names like that on national TV. And so I got curious, and I did a little bit of research, and I ended up scraping the money together to get my first CD set of his. And that was by far the biggest breakthrough that I'd had as far as re-engaging, not only re-engaging, but learning some amazing tools and resources on, how to take control of my state and my mind and goal setting, and really understanding what it is that makes people successful and fulfilled in life. And so that took me on that journey. And of course, I greatly changed who I was as an individual. And if you saw me within a couple of years, you would have thought, wow, this guy really got stuff together. A 6-figure job and lots of responsibility, and I was married and all sorts of things. On the inside, I was still connected to that event. And that was, for me, I kind of came to the point where I thought, wow, I mean, look how much I've achieved, yeah, I'm still connected to this event. So this is just how it is, right? I'm just going to have to put up with it because I've done so much work, or I thought I'd done so much work. And it wasn't until I had a career change probably some 3 years ago where I thought I really want to use all that personal development that I've gained, all that knowledge, which I've used through my sales and marketing and business, lifestyle, my career that I had. But I want to take it more formally. I want to be something more in that line of a life coach. So I went and started doing a course, and on the intake weekend, one of the last days, the facilitator said, who's doing the advanced training? And I put my hand up, and a few other people put their hand up, and they said, cool, well, I'm going to show you today a technique from something you're going to be doing, through NLP and metadynamics, known as a collapsed anchor. Like, cool, that sounds pretty nice. And they're like, who has had this one-off event? Just once, happened once, but it's not with you. It's a bit, mate, and this emotion came up, and I started getting teary and crying, and trying to hide it. And of course, this was like 3 days into this training, so we all knew each other pretty well. And the facilitator said, "Oh, Jacob, like, is it something you'd like to resolve?" And he's like asking the class, "You want okay, Jacob?" Yeah, definitely go up there. And mate, long story short, within 6 minutes, just boom, gone.
Nice.
All connection gone, could talk about it, what it resolved within my relationship with males, anxiety. Anyway, all of it just all of a sudden was just boom, gone. And so I thought, I don't know what that is just yet, but I'm going to find out because people need to know about this shit. It's crazy. And of course, that took me on the journey of then, skilling myself in NLP dynamics to help people to resolve that, and of course the other general frameworks that we use through coaching. So
I love it.
Yeah, it was very, very powerful, and that, to me, that's where that real journey came from.
It's just funny talking about anchoring. It's funny those things coming up. My similar journey was I used to get home from work, and I used to work from 4 till midnight. And so I work from 4 till midnight, and I get home and I often be a bit wired, so I ended up watching those things too. And I'd see Tony Robbins. I looked at the TV, I go, I'm going to go and check out that guy. Yeah. My dad at the time was doing some wellness consulting through another brand that supplied like magnetic products and water and stuff. I think it was called Weekend. And he was into that. And then he invited me to a Humans Being More event. So essentially this event was called Humans Being More. It was my first personal development event. And for me, strutted in thinking I was too cool for school and all this sort of stuff. I think it was about 26. And maybe I was a tad younger, but I think about 26. And then at the end of that event, a particular woman saw me and she goes, I think this is going to be beneficial for you. I actually have 2 tickets, number 2 tickets to an Anthony Robbins event. I'm like, wow, I've been watching this guy on the TV. And she goes, what I'm going to do for you too is you can pay me as you wish. If you want to pay it $100 a week, I think it was $800, or she got a discounted ticket somehow. And then next thing I was there and had some amazing experiences and did the crew and stuff with it. And hadn't really thought about it much for a while, but it seems, with that big documentary, I'm Not Your Guru, and I think Tony's coming back in flavor a bit, and he's kept consistent with his habits and definitely making a big impact. So it's cool to hear about it. Yeah,
definitely.
What's interesting too is one of the women in my M55 program, we just finished last night actually. So it was a bit emotional and exciting, inspiring, all those sort of things. They're putting all the different comments up at the moment. She actually asked about anchoring. So I think just for her as well, I think it's good. Let's just quickly talk about what is anchoring and then what's collapsing an anchor. Because I think a good way to just to roll into that too is just to ask the audience right now. When you think about 9/11, when the Twin Towers got crushed, where were you? We can all remember, right?
Spot on, man. Absolutely.
And then for me, I was in an office in Sydney. I can remember it. Whatever hour of the morning it was, 2, 3 in the morning, got the thing on notification. Someone's like, "We saw this." And which is crazy. Then you ask people, what did you have for dinner 3 nights ago?
No idea.
And I want to talk about that because something like instills, it's in our neurology, it's in our brain, it's in our awareness, so we can't quite remove it. It has an emotional attachment to something else that locks it in place. And essentially I want you to talk through what an anchor is. So how to remove an anchor. You're welcome to do one on me if you like, but if you want to give people an experience or talk it through in theory, whatever you choose. Yeah,
definitely. It's very, very cool. So anchors, I mean, they say, we carry around with us over maybe 10,000 anchors unconsciously, and it really represents the modalities that we use. So, sight, smell, feeling, taste, anything like that can take us back to a moment in time. So as you said, the Twin Towers was very powerful, collapsing of that. Some people walk into a restaurant or somebody else's home and they'll smell some cooking and it'll smell like, their mum's cooking back from when they were a kid. And it'll take them back and bring back memories. So ultimately, it can be any one of those sensory modalities that we use. The great thing about it is once we understand the basics of anchoring, we can then utilize it to our advantage. So in the case of, for instance, we often work with people who want to, often people who come to us with coaching, right? They say, I want to either feel happy or I want to be more certain, or I've got a presentation coming on. How can I deliver that with utmost certainty? So obviously we talk people through putting them into a peak state, and then we can anchor that in a position of their body that doesn't get obviously touched too regularly. So the palm of the hands is not a good idea because that always gets touched. But people use a shoulder or an elbow joint or whatever it is, something small like that. So then what happens is you take that person into a state of what we call 10 out of 10. So if it was, for instance, certainty, we either get them back to a point in time when they had that level of certainty, or we recreate it. They can model somebody. What would it feel like? How would you stand, breathe, facial expressions? What would you be thinking? And so we allow that person to generate that level of certainty. And one day, basically, they just nod their head when they get to a state of like a 10 out of 10, like it's radiating through their body. They're just peaking. They're absolutely, their chest is up, their head is up, they're breathing strong. And we're getting an hour, right? Like it's just hard not to. So as you start getting that feeling, that person nods, you hold down that anchor for 3 to 5 seconds with some firm pressure. And then you basically just start talking about the weather and get them distracted. And then we'll just go back and test it. So then we would simply, just from a natural state, we would then reactivate that anchor by literally just pressing it. We're looking for that physiological change within that person. So if it's certainty, they would you'd literally just peak up and they would, and you'd say, how do you feel? And I would say, I feel amazing and I feel so confident. And so that's ultimately, we can take control of that. So from it's something that doesn't take a lot of skill set. It's just more the understanding, the knowledge and the concept behind it. So if people watching this and listening to this, it's literally whatever feeling that you want to have on a regular or a timed basis. Literally just take yourself through that process and anchor something positive in your body. And you can actually do this very cool thing called stacking an anchor. So for instance, in that person who wants to present, they don't just want certainty because they might come across whatever too cold. So they might need certainty and passion, and they might need love and laughter. And so you can literally just repeat that process, get yourself in the peak state of laughter to the point where like literally just crying with tears, and then you reactivate that anchor and you're literally stacking emotions. And when you then reactivate under the test sort of stage, it's brilliant. It literally lights you up internally because you feel all of those different emotions that you've stacked.
I like it. So many people stacking that in the morning where you see people as a general thing until they have that first cup of coffee, that anchor.
Oh, absolutely. How do you say it? They say, I can't function until I have my first cup of coffee, right?
And then the magical elixir in coffee, all of a sudden, wow.
Yeah.
I can turn it up 10%. So instead of being like this, it can be like a little bit more.
Yeah.
At least I'm not miserable.
Spot on.
It's interesting how to use all these things. I even do it with water. Every time I have water, I always do it. Like on all these videos, guys, one of the reasons I drink water is that's what I do all the time anyway. But I want you to see that that's one thing that I do. Because if you keep doing it all the time, people see it, they're like, all of a sudden people just start doing it. Because what I've realized is this: people are getting anchored in particular states all the time watching the television. As you watch a TV or a screen, like you guys watching the screen right now, you're going into a particular brainwave. The screen's doing that with you as it oscillates, and all of a sudden you're going on a particular brainwave, so we can show you things here on the screen. Even if you didn't hear what we're saying, your life's going to change. How cool is that? Boom, another anchor. You know that one? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. Yeah, cool. So we're talking about collapsing an anchor now.
Yeah, very cool. So collapsing an anchor is a moment. So for me, I that one evening that I was attacked was that one moment in my life where I attached. So whatever the anxiety and the insomnia and all that kind of stuff was a result of that one evening. So under a lot of normal traditional therapy models, they would talk about, how do you not be anxious, and, how do we get into better sleep patterns? And they're dealing with the outcome or the result of the core event, and rather than treating with the core event. So in this situation, what happens is, so for what happened to me when I was having the collapsed anchor done to me, we literally anchor the negative emotion. So my facilitator or coach said to me, Grace, so Jacob, just start remembering that night and tell me a little bit about it. And like within 5 seconds, I was emotional and I was getting or whatever. So it's like, great. So I anchored it on one side of my shoulder. It's great. Clear the slate. Just relax. All good. Then on the other side, we stacked 5, 7. I think we did 8 in the end was the perfect model. But what you do is you do normally 5 amazing states and you choose them. So, it was like love, certainty, warmth, power, passion, for instance, right? You stack one of them at a time on the opposite shoulder. And then we would then, what we call now, collapse the anchor. So the facilitator would fire up the anchor, the negative anchor first, because that's the weaker one because we've overstacked it on the other side. We would then fire off the positive anchor, and obviously then let go of the negative anchor, keep remaining the positive anchor, and then just for 5, 6, 7 seconds, let that overflow. So it was the most amazing feeling. I could actually literally feel it overpowering that negative state. It was really amazing, yeah. And then literally just test it. So it's like, and I didn't know because I was so still in a little bit of a trance about it. He just said to me, "Great, so go ahead and tell me about that day or that night." And so I just started talking like we are now, like totally disconnected and totally no emotion connected to whatsoever. It was just a fact. It just happened. It was just an event. Whereas before, within 10 seconds, I was emotional blood-brain mess about it. Now, then he just tested and said, "Look, how do you feel about it?" And I kind of thought, I probably still feel a little bit something in my stomach, but I'm like, he goes, "So great for me." I'm like 9 out of 10 gone. He goes, "Great. Well, do you want a 10 out of 10 or do you want to leave it a little bit?" I'm like, "No, I think I want to let it all go." So that's when we stacked the other 2, redid it, boom, nothing there.
I like it.
Yeah.
So find all the different tools to play with everything.
Yeah.
I think the thing I'm always curious about too, some other question too, how do you manage to be in the world? A lot of people talk about being yourself. One of the challenges I had when I was in the NLP world, back going to Tony Robbins stuff and everything, everyone always wanted to facilitate everyone and everything. It was like, and people weren't actually listening, being with one another. It was almost like they were listening and they were like listening, but through a model of the world. Yeah. So I felt like a talking head or like so mind. And you're more embodied than everyone. So I'm curious what you've been able to do, whether it's through your daily practices or how you've worked. Yeah. I've just been around a lot of NLP trained facilitators, and they're always looking, what's the catch? What's the catch? What's the catch? Trying to facilitate it, trying to look at it, like looking at all the different things. And you can have that awareness, obviously, if you want to tune into that, but it's almost like, how do you give that space?
Yeah. Good question, man. Good question. How do I answer that? I don't know that I've noticed it that much. I probably feel that what NLP and general coaching frameworks have allowed me to take on is being much more empathetic and accepting of other people. So whatever energy they bring to the table, as long as it's within a values match, it's not about it's just a cautious word. It's not about manipulating. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Also, we always are manipulating, but not from a negative perspective.
Yeah. It's
more about how can I be respectful to the other person. So utilizing, DISC and spiral and all the different frameworks that we get taught, how do I then connect with another human being rather than looking to, as you said, facilitate or teach or let ego get in the way or anything like that. There's a time and space. If I'm facilitating, that's great. That's what people asking me to do. And what I found from a relationship perspective and connecting perspective, it's giving me I'm not sure, is it emotional awareness or social intelligence to be able to say, cool, let me just try that on and let me just see how that other person's experiencing their version of the world, because it's all different, right? Like it's all same but different. So I think it's more from it's allowed me to be a lot more open.
Yeah. I like it. It's just fun to contemplate all these different things. I find it fascinating too, because I obviously coach, mentor, whatever people talk about, help people out. And it's interesting because some of my clients, when I catch up with them, it's pretty similar conversations. I just want to have that's the thing. Whatever I do, I want to have amazing conversations with people that change both their lives.
Yeah.
You feel uplifted, inspired, and upgraded. The more I get clear on that, it's super fun. All the different people show up. Like literally you were saying before we jumped on this call, but I had, a client came and did a session in Melbourne. And I looked at the couch, I was about to jump on it, then I looked at the floor and she was looking at the floor too. She's like, "Can we please sit on the floor?" I'm like, "Yeah." It's not the floor, it's a magic carpet, anchor.
That's
yeah.
It.
Like if I look at that too, I'm aware of that. I'm just going, cool, we can put these ideas into our world. Because so many times reality is what we've been told it has to be.
Yeah.
But we can change it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the fun part. Like when we have that awareness, understanding, we totally dig like the power of language and utilization and things like that for our clients, because they're coming to us willing to change. That makes sense. That they've already made such a great change just by putting their hand up and saying, "Hey, listen, I don't know what necessarily that is, but I want that," and then they entrust within us to assist them to give, the mature frameworks to make it sustainable and ecological and replicable and all those kind of cool things that we do. And definitely the way that we can come across now, I think it's so much more playful. I think, people often look at therapy or coaching or whatever you want to call it. It has to be this very rigid, formal agreement between two people, and all serious. And there are sometimes times for that. I totally respect that.
Yeah.
But there's also, I think, sometimes we go too far on that level. And we forget that we are generally human beings, and we like to be playful, and we can change under different circumstances. It doesn't always have to be so rigid.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I'm playing. It's what I love too. With all these tools for you guys watching, play with it right now. Just think of like feeling you're having the best time ever. You love vibing with us, and just enjoy it. And then all of a sudden, just do a little anchor, whatever it happens to be. You might be able to do a secret run like this. How many times do you pull your ear?
Yeah,
pull your ear with me, mate.
That's it. That's it.
I do it too. Every time I jump in the car now, I was sharing this with some guys last night. Every time I jump in the car, I put my hands on the steering wheel.
Yeah.
I like to drive. No, I like to drive quickly. I appreciate that. And so I'd put my hands on the steering wheel and I demand absolute awareness. Every time I get in my car, I'll just know exactly what's going on. I'll have absolute awareness. And I even call the police the awareness police. And I can just feel when they're coming.
Yeah.
I've kept training that Jedi mind. So the more that I keep training and playing with it, just more and more, I guess, you get more awareness. It's been really cool.
Yeah.
Next, I want to talk to you, though, daily habits. You know, when you're working with a lot of clients, or some of the people here, they're going to be in corporate jobs. Some people watching are going to be business owners. Some people are going to be coaches and mentors. When you're dealing with a lot of people, you got to have some powerful practices for yourself to keep yourself in that zone. And I'm always curious, what are some of the things you do? Do you have anything particular to do when you wake up, or any particular things you do throughout the day, or what's your game?
Yeah, that's a great question. Rituals are a huge part of it. And I know there are times when I fall out of my rituals, and I definitely feel a massive difference in the impact that I make and the way that I present. So like something that I do, for instance, on a daily basis, I use the time when I'm getting ready in the morning, so I'm in front of the mirror, and gratitude to myself is a huge part of that. Learning to appreciate the awesomeness that is within me. And without sounding, I don't know how that comes across for me. I used to think about stuff like that. It was a bit wanking, whatever.
Sounds awesome.
But really getting into sort of saying, taking that minute or two to really look myself in the eyes in the mirror and say, hey, you are awesome because, and I fucking love you, and, really connecting with self. And I find that so powerful because it really makes me stop and think, well, it gives me the time and opportunity to stop and think about, the value that I'm adding into my own family's life, my own personal life, my clients' lives, and all that kind of stuff. And I find it really recharges and refuels myself from that perspective, and grounds me a lot, and gives me the opportunity to really pay respect to what it is the mission that I'm on and what I'm looking to achieve on a daily basis. So definitely a great way to start the morning. Before clients, I normally like to take 5 to 10 minutes, and I do a little ritual of seeing myself walking through a forest, a little bit of visualization.
Yeah, wow.
And then the sun's coming down and warming my face and my chest. I often find a little pocket in the forest where it opens up, and then I just take a little kneeling position, and then I'll visualize balloons coming down and starting to fill my heart and my chest with all the different tools and resources that I need to bring to my clients. So love, passion, commitment, certainty, playfulness, joyfulness. And I use that as a visualization to really connect with all of those emotions and tools and resources that I need. And then I do similar to what you were doing around talking to myself and my unconscious mind, connecting with all of my tools and resources, my learnings, everything that I've taken in life for the last 36 years, and bringing it all to the forefront. And I'll literally say my client's name. I'll say, because I want to give them everything. I want them to have the breakthrough they're going to have today. And I know when I compare that to moments that I don't do that, and I get out of that there's a difference. There's a difference in the change that I get for my client in that moment. And so it's totally invaluable. Totally invaluable. So there are a couple that I do on a daily basis.
I like that, having part of the sessions, like just having those little things you do, just because it keeps you full and keeps your cup full. So good. I do it before I jump on whether it's a webinar or just most things. When I'm working with someone, what I do is I'll expand out and connect to them, and I'll connect my heart to theirs. I can do it with you right now, and everyone watching, even though it's the now and you guys are watching the future. It's all the same thing. And what's funny is this: as I connect in, and I'll cut any emotional ties and anything that's gone on, just like snip, 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 and then I start to feel that energy in my heart and flow a little bit back, and feel it in my heart and flow it back. And as I've been doing that, plus blessing everyone, putting my hands together and blessing everyone, my clients feel it different, which is really cool. They feel like when they already know me. But as I've traveled the world, people walk up to me like, I know you. And I've never met them before.
Yeah.
But I've been playing with it more and more, just like blessing everyone. As soon as I walk into a restaurant,
yeah,
it's like not necessarily an anchor, it's just a blessing, because I've studied different groups of people that have these phenomenal lives and phenomenal sense of community. So I walk into a restaurant now, I just put my hands out and bless the restaurant, bless the food, bless all the people there. And always the meal tastes better, I get better service, all these different things, which is a manipulation for sure. But I don't think it's a bad one.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Yeah, and there are studies done literally on that. When people have the vibe, they put out a vibe and energy. People can sense it. It's legitimate. Like when people are thinking good thoughts about other people, it changes your facial expressions. It changes the chemical within your body. It changes the way you lift your shoulders and your chest and everything that you represent to other human beings. And it does. Some people just get drawn in. They don't know why. They go, I just have to say hi to you, or whatever it is like that. It's very cool to play with.
We had that at a big business event in Melbourne on Saturday. I think I mentioned it to you. And right there at the end, I left on a skateboard. One of my clients was there. She's also part of it. And I left on a skateboard, and some of the leaders loved it. And when we were down the street later, we're walking along, and there was a woman who we're getting some nuts from. And as we grabbed the nuts from her, like they've got the hot nuts because it's cold of an evening, she gives us a little taste test.
Yeah.
And then she looks at my friend's skateboard and she's like, I got a feeling I want to be on that. Let's go now.
Absolutely.
I just love being around people who've got that sense of possibility. It's like, let's do it now. Let's go. And the more of that amazing adventure we add in, it's almost like, again, that stacking up of the different anchors. Even the place where I'm at, the cafe right now, you probably hear the music all of a sudden. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
And these guys, like their thing is, as soon as it gets to 2:30, it's my favorite place to work from at the moment. And as soon as it gets to 2:30, that's their thing. Turn it up. And then they get their work done quicker. Everyone's using these anchors or ways to manipulate their environments.
Yeah.
Most people are using it in a downward spiral. It's tricky, huh?
Watching all the news, watching the drama, reality TV shows, and yeah.
So let's talk about fear. Talking about all that stuff, because I think one of the biggest things, people are afraid to live their own lives, so they watch everyone else's. It's prevalent on social media. It's prevalent with people watching TV.
Yeah.
A lot of people say that. I'd really like to do that. I'd really like to live like you, Jacob. Have my own business. Have a nice car. Have a beautiful wife and kids. I'd really like to, but blah, 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 blah.
Insert story. Yeah,
insert story. Or, and you see them every night. I don't have time. You see them every night, watching TV and doing these different things. But what would you say to someone like that? Whether they're afraid to leave their job and start a business, or whether they're afraid to leave their business and get a job, whatever it happens to be.
Yeah.
What would you say to them? Like talking through something right now. I want people to get a lot of value always from these calls. They go away different.
Yeah, it's a great one. I think a lot about this. My answer used to be, fear is obviously a primal reaction that we used to have, right? So it was all about protective mechanisms, and we need to, once we have that awareness and understanding of it, we then simply need to know, is it hey, the oven's hot, don't touch it because that's going to burn you, or is it oh my goodness, I don't know what's on the other side, but what's the worst case scenario? So I still play with that because I still think that's just got some legitimacy to it, because it is very much a primal instinct within us. However, I take it a little bit further now. I've gone down the path of helping people understand to where their lack of belief comes within themselves. And that's often coming from our childhood. Right. So there's often something that came into it. So we talk about, very similar to, it's an anchoring. It's very similar, like, we hear parents in the olden days might have said something like, people with money are evil. You know what I mean? Or you can only be successful by being a dodgy person, sort of a thing. So we take on these beliefs unconsciously, and they become part of us. And even though logically we can say, oh no, I don't believe that. But all of your behaviors and your patterns represent more the earlier behavior. So it's about understanding, where does that pattern come from? So whatever the fear is, or whatever the thing you're trying to achieve or want to achieve, but you're not taking action on, and starting to understand, where is that lack of belief from within coming from? Where is that being taught? Because as kids, we don't have that, right? Like you see kids, I've got a couple of young kids now, and oh my goodness, the stress of a parent, Brock, seriously. Like they'll jump off a couch, I don't know, hit their head and cry, and then 30 seconds later, they're back on the couch wanting to jump again. Now, part of that is they don't understand the pain. So that's fine. So we protect them from that. The other great part of it we can learn is that they just don't have that fear, because it's like, it's playfulness. It's fine. look what happened, big deal. It hurt a little bit, but I'm fine now. Let's just go and do it again, you know?
Yeah.
So it's until, the adults within their lives will really map out and dictate what belief they will have in themselves. And then the rest of our life is then we look for validation of that. And then obviously, hence that's how we play it out. So for me, it's a lot about understanding, you know, what anchors or what moments in your life do you remember that would possibly have stopped you taking the action that you're currently needing to resolve that and starting to get some awareness around that. So that's really why I try to go to the core of the issue as much as I believe it is. Yeah. Then from there, what I tend to find is the majority of the roadblocks are resolved. So the person wants to take the action, and then it's about mapping out, obviously what are then the logical steps. So say, for instance, your hypothetical situation of the person who wants to be an entrepreneur. Yeah. Justifying your things with stories like, oh my God, but I've got all these responsibilities, insert blah, blah, blah. So then it's about taking that away and then actually going, okay, so big picture, connecting to the why. What is it that you want to do and why? Okay, entrepreneur, why? I want to make a difference. I want to change. I want to connect with people. Awesome. Fantastic. How important is it? Really super. They spend a lot of time around connecting to that. What are their beliefs around it? What are their standards and expectations of themselves? Getting super clear on that. Because that in itself, that anchoring to that why is where the juice and the energy and the passion is going to come from. That's going to overcome the fear. Fear cannot beat when you're at your peak state of connecting to what your core is, what your core calling is. And so once we then move past that, obviously it's mapping out the small baby steps, the action steps that need to be taken along the journey.
I like it too, even on that, because I always look at what's behind it. You know, when you introduce someone to something new and then they find the smallest things that are impossible for them. As soon as you look what's behind that, find a little way and explore around it, all of a sudden, all those things are easy. Even for myself, like things, because I used to be like yourself, have a 6-figure job and do the different things. So I always had people doing everything for me. Even since I was a kid, pretty much, you know, I was a school captain, year 6 and 12. And then I was at school at 17. I even had people working for me already. And so when I started my first job, even when I was doing university part-time, the receptionist or the secretary was like reading all my scrolled out notes and typing up my essays, and always being able to get people to do things for me. Just kind of had that leadership or whatever. And what was interesting is it kind of held me back to start with in business. I was sitting there thinking, I'm too good for this. I don't need to do my BAS. I don't need to do my tax. I don't need to do someone else to do that. When you start off as a solopreneur or a business owner, you got to do things of those. I think a lot of people, they're not necessarily afraid per se just to that, but sometimes it's people don't have enough information. But sometimes I think people live in a fantasy land of like realizing, you know, what it takes to run a successful business. There's work to be done. You got to have everything, but there's lots of work to be done. And I think I just want to put that in the conversation too, because a lot of people don't see that. Like, oh, you're so lucky, you're so amazing, you're blah blah blah. I wish I could live like you. Yeah. And it's look, well, am I willing to do whatever it takes? Number one, and are you willing to fail? Because honestly, I fail all the time. I don't look at it like that. It's not the perspective I have about it. I find a different frame for a different reference point to how I look at that in my psychology. Yep. But yeah, not every time I do something, not every time I make a call, it works. Not every time, whatever. But I think if we look at it from the perspective, this is what I've been doing, is it creates more momentum. It creates more energy by our simply shooting for something. Whether we get a yes, no, indifference, doesn't matter what the result is. All of a sudden, our brain chemistry, our neurology changes in such a way. Different, which is what I love. But I wanted to drop it in right now. It's why I wanted to bring that word in, momentum. You see how I did that? Pretty clever. Boom.
The master of influence.
Yeah, sniff it. Cool. We're doing it. So momentum. What is momentum to you? You're thinking about projects, or just that word. I use it a lot. Yeah. I don't think I necessarily use it just how it's traditionally used. I mentioned it a little bit on, before we were recording before, and I'll talk a bit after. But what's momentum to you?
It's a great word. Momentum. Momentum is about continually looking forward. And it's not dwelling on the past. It's, as you said, reframing is a great way of putting it. So looking at every action or decision that's been made and looking for the opportunity to grow and learn from it. So if it was successful, how can I make it more successful? If it wasn't the outcome that I wanted, insert other people's language of failure. Didn't get the result that I wanted, what would I do differently next time to get a better result? So momentum is that continual progress of moving forward. And just everything is heading in that direction. Everything's just going in that direction. and, you know, utilizing everything that you've got around you, the people, the resources, the feedback from the universe, and just continually stacking that and seeing that everything is ultimately, you know, heading in the direction that you want it to, whether you see it, feel it, hear it right now or not, it is always heading in that way.
I like that. I'm gonna grab that clip and go through it again. I'm gonna rewatch this interview too. I like how you came through with that. That's what I love about these interviews, just getting more information. I love too, you know, one of the things I love, I always talk about this, guys watching. When I think about things, I want to do it, one, from the space of what do I love to do. So it's a win for me. I'm really clear about that. Two, I want it to be a win for everyone that I bring onto this program or whatever I happen to do. So win for the community. And three, a win for humanity. I think about that, like this three-pronged approach to things. I'm blessed everything, doing that all the time. And I think about, as we do that more and more, it's actually just things start to build a momentum of their own. And what I love too is that momentum of, you know, a joyful dolphin. I said it just a little bit before. When I think about it, I call it my dolphin theory. Dolphins play all the time. They're surfing, they're playing, they're very successful. They can travel all around the world for free. They get free food, they have the best time ever, have the best sex. They can communicate without at a distance. Yeah, they've got massive awareness. They've got empathy and all these different things. So I call it my dolphin theory.
Super intelligent.
Super hyper intelligent. So it's just fun just going in. Somehow they just move in these pods. And when one pod splits up, they find each other.
Yeah.
And I even had that too when I've been thinking about that theory, is that one of my friends, Daniel, who's over in America, I did an interview a while ago with him. You'd like him too. Really cool guy, Daniel Eisenman. And the day that his grandmother passed, a sad day, I felt it. So I sent him a message. Dude, what's going on? We got on the phone later, and his grandmother had passed. His grandmother had passed between 100 and 101.
Wow.
I think so many times the word manipulation is used to build momentum, where we're like, what can I take and get and do so that I can get what I want? Fuck everyone else. I'm having what I want. Fuck everyone else. Sorry to use strong language there, everyone, but I've got a bit of an intensity about that one. Maybe I'll collapse it, but maybe it's just part of my purpose. And when we do, how can we go into something greater together so we can uplift and inspire and upgrade humanity? Let's imagine what's truly possible.
Yeah.
Which I like it all. Anyway, momentum's cool. It's a great,
very cool.
Great energy. I dig it. So the thing I love about dolphins too is they can change direction at any moment. They somehow know they need to go from here to here.
Yeah.
But if all of a sudden something greater shows up, they're on point. They can quickly shift on a dime, and they're not attached to that they go in that direction. All of a sudden they can go, whoa, I'm just going to change slightly, and this is even better.
Love it. Flexibility.
Yeah, flexibility. It's interesting, huh? I always notice different things, whatever we express, the more they play in these definitions, it's fun to go through. I think that thing I'm going to just pop in there too now is we either come up with our own reality, create the new normal, or we follow what currently has been. But if we have resistance to what's going on, there's no space. As soon as we clear all those resistance, all of a sudden there's so much more space. Cool. Things I want to ask next. Ready for another question?
Bring it on, baby.
Fire your anchor. Everyone watching, fire your anchor.
Fire anchor.
I'm doing it too because Gemma, you're going to be watching this because I'm going to send it to you. You asked this question, so thanks for inspiring us to talk more about anchors. What I found is this, kind of like my dolphin theory, everything that I require just shows up in the perfect moment. I always choose to be in the right place at the right time with the right people, having the best time ever.
Yep.
And, just bringing in ideas like the magic carpet seems to show up more and more.
Yeah.
But now when you say this is, I don't know, let's say your 100th birthday.
I look good.
Going forward, 100th birthday, you're feeling fresh. What would you do to celebrate your 100th birthday? What kind of party would you have? Or will you have?
Yeah. Yeah, it's really interesting. I'm not a big, what I call a wow kind of a person. I don't need a lot of, razzmatazz. For me, seeing generationally my family, I would see myself being surrounded by some key members of the community. Like yourself would definitely have to be there. That's not even a question.
I'll be 101.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice. Well, I would have just gone to your 100. You would have invited me, although you've probably forgotten. But anyway, it's fine. I'll re-invite you. It's for me, it's definitely been around key community members. I think I would pick something, a spot which would somehow represent and reflect the beauty of life. I don't even know what that means just yet, but there was something that just came to me. It was all about spending that moment in time with this core amount of beautiful people. I think I see some people coming up and sharing stories, not necessarily linked to me, but just generally what their version of their stories are. So sharing, so the different generations can learn and accelerate their awareness and development within their own lives.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. What about you, man? Tell me, how does your 100th birthday look? Because I was there, but I can't remember it.
I'm just sitting in yours for a second. It's cool. All right, that's gone for a second. Mine, what I want is this. You know, we're still going to be looking young and fresh and vital and all that sort of stuff. But I had this experience a while ago. I was actually at a restaurant, famous worldwide restaurant. It's actually called McDonald's. It's not somewhere I actually frequent anymore. But I was at this restaurant called McDonald's, sitting down, meeting a friend, and this couple rode in on a motorbike. And they were cool. Like, they were slim and their posture was amazing. They were fresh and energized. And they pull off their helmets. The woman does her hair like that, still going all sexy. And she's probably about 75 years young. And I went, that is how I want to live.
Yeah.
That, whatever they're up to. And when I thought about my 100th, this is the one. I'm going to have it like a superheroes party. I like the energy of superheroes, that avatar. You know, superheroes can do anything. But one is that you won't know what age people are besides their height.
Yep.
You're just there. Like, everyone's there at a superheroes party. Everyone's got their mask on. And whatever I'll happen to do, I've actually had one for my 30th, which changed a whole lot of people's lives, including my own.
Yeah.
I like that. Like, everyone's got the mask on their head, and people are going to forget how old they are.
It's true, right? It's absolutely true. And they go into this character, they go into this playfulness,
And what if we could do that every day? What if we could actually, boom, like, that's the one, right? What if you forgot how old you are, how old would you be? And there's been experiments on it where they actually do it, where people actually go back 25 years ago in the history of the world. They get the newspapers, they get the environment and everything. And all of a sudden, guys are on medication, their blood pressure's high, all sorts of stuff. All these things are happening. All of a sudden, their life changes.
Yeah.
Blood pressure goes down, those things. So that's why I think, like, how many little secret weapons can we utilize every day? So one, we can be better in our own lives. Two, for our community. Three, for humanity. The more I come from that, so much more shows up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I remember the study. Sorry, my mind goes into the logical state, right? So I love putting it out. And so for me, it's kind of like, I remember reading a study that says, you know, on average, we take in about, 2 million bits of information every second, right? Through all of our different senses. And the only way we can function as humans is to delete, distort, and generalize. And where that filtration comes from is those experiences from our life, right? When you talk about, you know, if I'm always coming from the place of, you know, the triple win, what's good for me, good for you, and good for humanity, it's really, our brain must focus on and observe out of those 2 million chunks, or those 2 million bits of information, what's at the front of mind. So a perfect example, I'll say to a client is, look, do you remember buying a car, right? A certain car, a certain make and model. And as soon as you purchase that car, all of a sudden you see them everywhere out on the road, right? Yeah. So we hear that story a lot. And that's kind of the same philosophy. So when we're thinking about, looking for great people, looking for adventure, or looking for, the kindness in the world, the theory is that it's always there. Right, it's what we're choosing to focus on. So we spoke earlier before about people who, people who want to live in the drama of life, right? So there's people getting arrested, there's killings, there's murders, there's drug problems, there's money problems, all that kind of stuff. Is that reality? Well, yeah, technically you can say it is, because all those things are happening. The question is it resourceful for you to be putting a lot of your time and effort and focus into it, unless you're looking to solve those problems? Most of the time we come up with the answer is, well, it's not. So then it's about saying, well, let's take control of this most beautiful, powerful part of our body, which is our brain, which is ours, is what we do control. And what do you choose to focus on? And therefore, if you choose to focus on, as you said, all those things we spoke about before, guess what? You start to notice more of that around us. And as you notice more, and then brings more to your attention, and you feel more connected to it. And as you feel more connected to it, you notice even more of it, and the cycle continues.
I love it. It just makes it more magical, huh? And I know you said it before with language, like just utilizing that language. Just everyone watching right now, think of 3 words. Could be enchanted, could be presence, could be engagement. All these different words, if you just start focusing on that more and more, you're going to feel it more and more within yourself, and then it's going to be your experience. Christy and I have even had it when we went to America. Well, I said, Christy, book us into the ghetto. we got there, and this is 2 years ago, and every time we went over there, Chris just quickly looked up, found a cheap hotel. So we got to LA, we'd be able to find something, and then we'd find our next Airbnb or accommodation after that. We booked another beautiful hotel after that. And the first one, maybe it was like $60-$70 a night, US. The guy at the airport was freaking out for us. He was scared. He was crazy. Like, you guys can't stay there. Instead of catching a hire car, I caught the bus. Had to get 2 or 3 buses there. Didn't have my phone on at that point. Somehow I managed to figure it out with conversation, with curiosity, and all these different elements, how to get to the hotel. Then this beautiful woman just showed up in the experience of the adventure, who actually we paid her $5, and she took us in her old beaten up car to our next location. The next 2 days later, she drove us halfway across the city of LA. And I tried to call her on the last trip, but those things are, if we're coming from absolute awareness and don't judge the circumstances, I believe that reality can bend around us. And I've witnessed it countless times now that it can occur in such a way that we start with putting these things into our mind or our brain, but it harmonizes in such a way that our experience is shifting.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Which I love. It's cool. We just got a few minutes left, so I'm going to jump on to something else, but I just want to keep talking for longer. I love it,
man. This is epic. I don't know where the time's gone. I just looked up now, and it's just like been almost an hour. It's like, oh my shit.
Oh, it's easy. We can talk great. Just can't wait till we're sharing stories around a campfire. One thing I do is this. This is the way, like, I always look at how would I say it? I always look at how do I manipulate energy in such a way that I can create something greater. I get out what I call as my magic book. I write my friends' names down in here, and they show up in my life. A lot of people fly out the cans. I've written about 30 people's names in from around the world. Some even rent my house out without me even asking them. People that you've listened to on a podcast, I write a name down in the magic book. I just came up with that as an idea. Now it's living proof. You can do it. This is the fun thing. All this stuff we're sharing, guys, if you've made it to this thing, almost 60 minutes of focus, you're at the top of the game. You're at the top of the food chain. If you can stay here and focus for 55 minutes or more, you're going to do well in life.
Definitely.
And saying that, what would you like to share with guys as we come to the end of this time?
For me?
Yeah, like 60 seconds. Imagine this is your chance to share something with the world.
Yeah. Possibility.
I like it.
Possibility. Go big, dream big. Be okay to, as you said, fail, whatever that word is, and understand that it's never the end result. Right, whatever you think the end game is for you, homes, cars, community, whatever it is, it's the journey. It's the journey that's the epic part, because that's the part that it's magical, it's mystical, it's whatever we want it to be, and that's who we grow and develop as human beings. So keep the possibility high, keep hanging around with some really cool people. This man is definitely high up on that cool list. And yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity, man.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'll see you soon, huh?
Definitely look forward to it, bro.
And yeah, guys, thank you so much for making it all the way to the end. We appreciate you guys. Love what you're doing. You can find Jakub. I'm going to put his details below so you can find that in the video just to make it really easy. Check out what he's doing if you're in Melbourne or you want to do some stuff. I guess you can do stuff with people online as well, yeah?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's cool. Check out his work, see what he's up to. Add him up on Facebook if you like. Always a pleasure to have good people on here, mate. It's been a great conversation, and looking forward to some in person around a campfire with the most beautiful spring water ever.
I can taste it already.
I love it. Cheers.
Thanks, brother.
See you soon. Peace.